They live miles away, maybe in another city, another country, but for some reason, your heart can't let them go. You feel something deep, something real, even in the silence. And you ask yourself, is this just a feeling, or is Allah trying to show me something? Let me tell you this, when two hearts are truly written by Allah, even distance becomes part of the plan. Not a barrier, but a bridge. When you love someone for the sake of Allah, and they feel far from you, it's easy to think, maybe this won't happen. But what if I told you, distance is not destroying your destiny, it's building it. See, Allah is not just a creator, He is Al-Hakim, the most wise. And when He writes two hearts to be together, He doesn't rush the story. He develops it, piece by piece, in silence, in secret, in the unseen. That distance you hate, it's not a punishment. It's your training ground. It builds your patience. It builds your dua. It builds your faith. Because love that is meant for the long run can't be rushed. It needs strength. It needs depth. And it needs Allah's preparation, not just your feelings. Maybe right now, the person you're thinking of is going through something. Maybe they're not ready yet emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. And maybe you aren't either. So instead of bringing them too soon and letting the relationship break, Allah delays the meeting so it can last when it finally happens. Because here's the truth. If Allah has written someone for you, He will never give them to you until you're both ready to handle the blessing. Sometimes you're kept apart so your hearts can heal, so your character can grow, so your iman can become solid, so that when He does bring you together, you don't fall into sin. You rise in barakah. So don't see the distance as rejection. See it as construction. Because Allah is not cancelling the plan. He's completing it in the most perfect way. Not every strong feeling is real, and not every real feeling is from Allah. But when the love you feel is from Allah, it comes with sabr, not obsession, not fear, not anxiety, just sabr, calm, quiet, trust. Because the heart that Allah is guiding doesn't panic. It waits. You might find yourself thinking of them all the time, making dua for them, wondering if they feel the same. And it hurts not knowing, not hearing from them, not being with them. But still, something inside you says, stay still, don't chase, let Allah handle this. That voice inside your heart, that peace that fights the panic, that is sabr. And that is the sign that this might be something real. What does sabr in love look like? It means you trust Allah more than you trust your emotions. You don't rush into haram communication. You don't demand answers. You don't fall apart when things go quiet. You hold the feeling gently, and you hand it to your Rabb every single night in dua. Ya Allah, I don't know what this is, but you do. If it's from you, give me sabr until it arrives. And if it's not, remove it with peace, not pain. This is what love with sabr sounds like. No desperation, no begging, just surrender. Why does Allah attach sabr to real love? Because the purpose of love isn't just companionship, it's spiritual elevation. When Allah gives you a real connection, He doesn't want it to pull you away from Him. He wants it to bring you closer. That's why true love isn't wild. It's wise. It's not reckless. It's responsible. It's not needy. It's peaceful. It teaches you to wait without complaining, to care without crossing boundaries, to hope without losing focus on the akhirah. Sabr becomes your shield, protecting your heart, your soul, your dignity, until the moment Allah decides, now you're ready to receive what I've written. And if they're not meant for you, then your sabr will become your safety. Because sometimes Allah protects you through patience from things that look like love but would have broken your heart. And be patient, for what Allah has written for you will come, even if it moves slower than your heart wants. Quran, inspired reminder. So, if you love them, don't chase. If you miss them, don't panic. Just pray, just grow, just trust. Because when love is truly from Allah, it teaches your heart sabr before it ever gives your heart a person. In today's world, people measure love by noise, by posts, by daily calls, by fast replies, by public displays, by who says, I love you the most. But real love, the kind written by Allah, it doesn't need to be loud. It needs to be loyal. Because real love is not about proving something to the world. It's about staying true, even when no one is watching. Real love is quiet, but strong. Sometimes the one written for you doesn't flood you with messages. They don't comment on your photos. They don't flatter you constantly. They might even be distant right now. But if they're the one Allah wrote for you, they'll never leave the dua you make for them. They don't need daily attention to stay connected. Their bond with you isn't based on how often you talk. It's based on something much deeper: intentions, faith, respect, prayer, taqwa. You don't need to be in constant contact to stay in constant loyalty. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's what keeps love alive without crossing Allah's boundaries. Social media is loud. Sincere love is silent. In a world where relationships are used for likes and love is measured in Instagram reels, many people forget what's truly sacred doesn't need to be shown. It needs to be protected. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ loved his wives deeply, but you never found him boasting or flashing that love in public. It was private, gentle, loyal. That's the sunnah of sacred love. It's not performed, it's preserved. Loyalty isn't just faithfulness, it's honor. In Islam, loyalty in love isn't just not cheating. It means you guard their name in their absence. You don't flirt with others, even when tempted. You protect the thought of them in your heart like something valuable. You don't compare them to others. You wait with dignity. You never bring shame to what Allah could make sacred. You don't use their distance as an excuse to sin. You don't say, they're far, I can do what I want. No, you stay loyal. Because if they're from Allah, then your loyalty is not for them alone. It's a proof to Allah that you are ready for something pure. You know it's real love when you're not afraid of silence. You're not constantly needing reassurance. You're not crossing haram limits just to feel close. You're not panicking when they pull back, you start praying instead. You're not rushing the future, you're preparing for it. That's not attachment. That's not fantasy. That's love with dignity. And that's how you know this might be something written by the one who knows all hearts. Love that's loyal honors the soul before the self. True love wants their soul to succeed in the akhirah, even before wanting their body next to yours in the dunya. That's why the love from Allah always brings boundaries, not possessiveness, trust, not control, growth, not destruction. You can't fake that. And if someone stays loyal to you, even in your absence, if someone doesn't chase attention or flirt with others, if someone honors your name in private, that's not just affection, that's loyalty, that's love, that's from Allah. So don't worry if they're not loud. Don't fear the silence. Don't rush the moment, because real love doesn't need to shout to be real. It just needs to stay, without breaking. Sometimes we think, if this love is from Allah, why is it taking so long? If we're meant to be, why are we apart? If this person is written for me, why is everything so delayed? But the answer isn't in your timeline. The answer is in the life of the one who was most beloved to Allah, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, even he, the most noble, the most righteous, the most beloved to Allah, had to wait for the people he loved, had to endure separation, had to stay patient in silence. He waited to marry Khadija, R.A. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't rush love. He waited until it was pure, honest, dignified, and fully aligned with Allah's timing. And when he married Khadija, Ra, it wasn't just for comfort. It was a union built on purpose and peace. Their love was never loud, but it was one of the greatest loves in history. He, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, lost her. And yet, he never stopped loving her. Even years later, he would mention her name with tears in his eyes. That's not just love. That's loyalty. That's what love looks like when it begins and ends with Allah. He waited through separation from his loved ones. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made hijrah to Medina, he was forced to leave behind many of those he loved in Makkah. His heart was with them, but the journey was from Allah. He didn't rebel. He didn't complain. He trusted the delay, because he knew what Allah writes, He delivers. And eventually, those people were reunited with him in Medina, not rushed, not broken, but at the perfect moment when the Ummah was strong enough to hold them. Even in grief, he waited with trust. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, buried his children with his own hands. He lost people he loved, people who held his heart. And yet, he kept saying, Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun. To Allah we belong, and to Him we return. He cried, but he didn't collapse. He hurt, but he didn't lose hope, because he knew Allah never takes or delays without a greater wisdom. What does that mean for you? If the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best of creation, had to wait for love, endure separation, stay patient through long periods of silence, then who are we to complain when things don't happen fast? You're not being punished. You're being purified. You're being protected from a version of love that isn't strong enough yet. Allah is not late. Allah is perfectly on time, just like He was for His beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, if you feel like your story is taking too long, if the person you love is far away, if the silence hurts, then remember this. Even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to wait, because what's written by Allah always arrives, but only when both the hearts and the moment are ready. Stay patient, stay loyal, stay close to your Lord, because if the love is from Allah, it will come like it did for His Prophet, at the most blessed time, with the most beautiful peace. Sometimes, before your eyes ever see someone, your heart already feels them. You don't know why. You don't have proof. But there's this calm, quiet certainty inside. This soul is familiar. This feeling is not random. And maybe it's not. Souls met before bodies ever did. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, souls are like gathered armies. Those who were familiar with one another before will recognize each other when they meet. Sahih Muslim. That means, before we were placed in this world, before you had your name, your face, your voice, your soul already existed, and it knew other souls. And some of those souls were created to recognize, love, and walk with yours in this life. Not by accident, by divine design. When you feel drawn without a reason, there may be someone you can't stop making dua for. Feel peace when thinking about them. Dream about not in desire, but in calmness. Think of during Salah or while reading Quran without trying. Miss, even when you've never met them properly. And you wonder, why does this connection feel so real? Why can't I shake it off? Maybe it's not from you. Maybe it's from Allah. He can plant a knowing in your soul before your life even catches up. He can place a bond in your heart long before your hands ever touch. He can create connection through the unseen, because the unseen is His domain. The signs aren't always loud, but they're clear. Sometimes Allah sends gentle signs, a powerful feeling that doesn't fade over time. A peaceful reminder when you hear something they once said. A repeated dream that doesn't shake you, it soothes you. A coincidence that happens more than once in dua, in places, in names. A message that enters your heart just when you were about to let go. These signs aren't hallucinations. They're not obsessions. They're nudges from the one who sees all hearts. But here's the key. Allah shows you what you need to see, not always what you want. Sometimes the soul connection is there, but the story is not meant to unfold yet. Or sometimes it's a preparation, not a promise. Trust the connection, but more than that, trust the writer. You may not fully understand what this connection means. You may not know if it will lead to marriage or just growth. But here's what you can hold on to. If Allah placed a soul-deep connection in your life, it's either meant to build you or to be with you. Either way, it's good for you. Even if you never touch their hand, they may have touched your soul. Even if you never see them again, their name may be a doorway for your dua. And even if they are not yours in this dunya, maybe they were meant to lead you back to your Rabb. So never dismiss the soul's recognition, but don't chase it either. Let Allah unfold the rest, because He connected souls long before He allowed the world to see the bond. Sometimes, the one your heart longs for is far, not just in miles, but in silence, in life path, in emotional distance, maybe even in religious growth. And still something in you says, they're the one. But here's the truth. Even if they're written for you, even if your hearts are meant to unite one day, there's a very real danger that can ruin it before it even begins. Crossing Allah's limits while trying to reach what He promised. Shaitan loves when you're impatient. Shaitan knows you feel deeply. He sees that you're praying for someone, and instead of encouraging you to wait with dignity, he whispers things like, "It's okay to talk late at night, it's innocent. Just check their social media, just one more time. Send that message you never know. Flirt a little. You're probably going to marry them anyway. Everyone else is doing worse. This is halal compared to that. But listen carefully. If you believe this person is from Allah, then prove it by how you protect that love, not how you chase it. The real test. Can you stay pure while you wait? Love that's real doesn't begin in lust. It doesn't grow through haram DMs. It doesn't survive on secret calls, flirtation, or stolen moments. It grows when both hearts fear Allah even when no one is watching. Avoid each other if it means crossing a line. Respect the boundaries even when emotions are hard to control. Choose silence over sin. Choose dua over desire, because what is meant to be sacred must be protected from the start. The purity you keep today protects the barakah of tomorrow. You might think, but we're not doing anything wrong. We're going to get married eventually. But here's the thing. If you can't obey Allah while you're waiting, what makes you think your relationship will be full of barakah when it starts? Allah doesn't bless connections that are built on disobedience. He doesn't bring peace to a love that was constructed through sin. No matter how much you love each other, if it's built the wrong way, it will hurt the right parts of your soul. So, protect it, even if it means no communication, even if it means sacrificing comfort for a while, even if it means waiting with silence and sabr. Because when Allah sees you giving up your own desire to honor His limits, that's when He gives you the best version of what you waited for. When it's meant you don't have to sin to keep it. If you constantly feel like you have to chase them, impress them, seduce them, fight for their attention, that's not peace. That's pressure. But when it's written by Allah, you don't beg, you don't push, you don't compromise your deen. You simply stay patient and pure. You build yourself. You pray for them. You focus on becoming the person that your person is also praying for. That's how soulmates meet, through preparation, not desperation. Purity is hard, but it protects everything beautiful. Let's be honest, it's hard to hold your emotions, to control your heart, to avoid temptation when the world glorifies it. But the harder the saber, the sweeter the reward. And maybe, just maybe, your silence is your proof to Allah that you're worthy of this love. Your purity is the sign that you want His pleasure more than your feelings. And your patience? That's your ticket to a love that's clean, lasting, and full of barakah. So don't fear the distance. Don't ruin the bond before it's built. Don't run toward what Allah is still writing, because if they are truly written for you, you won't lose them by staying halal. You'll lose them by trying to force what only Allah can bring. When words can't reach them, when messages go unread, when distance feels endless, there is one language that still reaches their heart, even if they never hear it from you. Dua, a quiet whisper to the Lord of Hearts. A prayer that travels faster than any plane, deeper than any voice. A sacred bridge between two souls that may never touch, but are connected in the unseen. The beauty of a dua they'll never know about. You may never speak to them again. They may never know how deeply you care. They may be in another city, another country, or another chapter of life. But every time you raise your hands and say, Ya Allah, guide them, protect them, bless them, and if they are written for me, bring them in the best way. That dua reaches them, not through your voice, but through Allah's mercy. And if that love is pure, if it's not stained with sin or ego, then your dua becomes a gift that touches their life in ways they'll never understand, but will deeply feel. Dua is not just a request, it's a surrender. Sometimes we make dua and still feel afraid. What if they forget me? What if someone else gets them? What if this never happens? But true dua is not just asking Allah, it's trusting Him after you ask. It's saying, Ya Rab, you know my heart. You know what I want, but you also know what I need. So give me what's best, even if I don't understand it yet. Because when Allah is in control of the story, even what feels like a delay is just a redirection towards something more beautiful. The most loyal love is the love you hide in dua. Not everything sacred should be said aloud. Not every love needs to be declared. Sometimes, the purest form of love is the one you hide from the world and only share with your Lord. No messages, no games, no pressure. Just you, the prayer mat, and their name in your heart. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's faith. Because when you place a heart in Allah's hands, you are saying, even if they're far from me, they are never far from you. And if they're not meant for you, then your dua is not wasted. Every prayer you made for them, Every moment you asked for their peace, healing, guidance, it becomes a sadaqah, a reward written in your book, a sign that you loved them not for your ego, but for Allah. And who knows, maybe Allah removes them to give you someone better, someone who prays for you just as deeply, whose soul was waiting for your soul all along. If it's meant your dua will be the rope that pulls them closer. Dua does what no effort can do. It enters rooms you'll never walk into. It softens hearts you can't touch. It moves destinies without force. So if this love is truly from Allah, let dua be your effort. Let sabr be your strength. And let trust be your peace. Because if your heart is sincere and your intentions are clean, then your silent prayers are already doing more than your presence ever could. What is written for you will find its way. And it might be the dua you made in tears. That becomes the doorway to a love that was always waiting for you. You've waited. You've prayed. You've cried in sujood. You've imagined a future that still hasn't arrived. You've done everything right, yet the distance remains. The silence stretches. The outcome is still unknown. But here's what you must remember. Allah is not ignoring you. He's preparing everything for you. Because when two hearts are written by Allah, no silence is permanent. No delay is meaningless. No distance is powerful enough to stop it. What's meant for you is already moving toward you. The love that's meant for you is not hiding. It's growing. Right now, in some corner of the world, Allah may be softening their heart, healing their pain, strengthening their deen, whispering your name into their du'as just as you whisper theirs. You don't need to rush toward them, because Allah can bring hearts together in the most unexpected, unimaginable, beautiful ways. Indeed, what is written for you will reach you, even if it's beneath two mountains. And what is not written for you will miss you, even if it's between your two lips. Hadith. Your job is not to chase. Your job is to prepare. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to test your worth through someone's reply. You don't need to abandon your values to get their attention. What you need to do is clean your heart, guard your soul, grow your relationship with Allah. Make dua with trust, not desperation. Wait with dignity, not anxiety. Because if Allah wants your hearts to meet, He will not need your sins to make it happen. He will use your sabr, your dua, and your purity. And if they weren't meant for you, then know this: you didn't lose them. Allah protected you. You didn't waste your time. You grew. You matured. You drew closer to your Lord. Your du'as became light for you on the day of judgment. Your longing became a ladder to Jannah. And when you meet the one Allah has written for you, the weight will make sense. The pain will make sense. The silence will make sense. Because you will finally say, "This is the person my soul was waiting for, and now I understand why it couldn't be anyone else." Final words. Leave it in Allah's hands and walk with peace. So now, breathe. Let go of the fear. Stop asking when, how, or if. You don't need all the answers. You just need one truth. What's written by Allah will come to you with peace. Stay with barakah and never ask you to lose your dignity in the process. Let Allah write your story. Let dua carry your hopes. And let your sabr be the bridge between today's silence and tomorrow's sacred love. Because when two hearts are meant by Allah, even distance becomes part of the journey, not the end of it.